Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, David. How's it going?
I'm good. What about you, teacher?
I'm good. Thank you. So, how was your day yesterday?
Um, it was it was amazing.
Oh, how nice. I'm happy
Yeah,
to hear that. All right. That's great. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's very good. That's very good. Are you back at school?
not yet. Um, tipo, eu não tô fazendo nada online, mas a gente
In
pode marcar qualquer
English?
prova.
Uh,
Ah, em inglês?
yes.
É, uh, could you repeat, please?
Yes, I just asked you, are you back at class? Are you having classes at school? That you said, I'm not doing anything online.
Ah, yes, yes,
Okay.
I'm.
All right. No problem, David. That's okay. Don't worry. So, welcome to our class today. Today it's April 15th, right? So, halfway through the month already. My goodness, so fast. So
It,
fast. Time
yes.
flies. Time flies. Yeah. So, to start our class today, I wanted to show you guys this very cute image, right? Can you see there?
Yes, I can.
All right. So, poor boy, right? So he's trying to open the door, but it's heavy. So anyway, he's doing his best. Okay, so this picture illustrates our class today. All right, so let's check our topics on Google Classroom page. So let's check it out. All right, so here we have our topics for today. So last class, David, we did pages 34 and 35, unit 3.3. And today we will do unit 3.4, page 36, English for real. Okay, so let's take a look there. Oh, by the way, did you have a chance to do your homework?
Yeah, chance.
Yes.
I I I don't understand.
Did you do your homework?
Yes,
Oh,
online
great.
practice.
Perfect, David. Congratulations. Very good. So let's go over to our page on the book. All right. So here we have here a few requests. Okay. So first, what do you understand by requests?
A tela aqui não mudou, não.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. My
Fala.
mistake. Okay, can you see now? Yes? Okay, good. So, what do you understand by requests? Hi, Leo. Leo is joining us. Okay, so let's see. Hi, Leo. Good morning. Good to see you. Are you okay today?
Yes.
Okay. So, we are just starting our lesson, okay? And the topic is a few requests. So, as you saw in that image, right? It's an illustration. What is a request? A request is when you need something and then you ask a person to do it for you, okay? Suppose you need help to do your homework. So you can ask a classmate to help you, or you can ask your teacher to help you, okay, if you wish. So you can say, oh, I'm sorry, but can you help me with my homework? I don't understand this exercise? Can you help me? All right. So that is a request. All right, people. So let's take a look at the situation of our characters here. Take a look at pictures 1 and 2. What do you see there? What are they doing?
I think in number one, he is at home, and number two, at home, work.
Oh, right, David. Great. That's it. And who do you think they are? How are they related? Are they um, friends? Are they, for example, a student and teacher? Or are they just co-workers? What do you think?
Student and teacher.
Oh, how nice. Exactly. Okay. So take a look there, guys. How do you ask for something politely? So let's highlight that word. It's really, really important. When we ask for something, we should always be polite, not only when we ask, in all situations, especially this one. So, look, politely is when you show good manners. Okay, all right, you're not going to be rude when you ask something, right? And you are not going to insist or force the person to do something. That's not okay. So you should ask politely. Now, think of phrases you might use to ask for something in a store, for example, and phrases to use at home with family. So, which phrases do you think you might use to ask for something in a store, for example? Suppose we are at a store at the mall and we need something. What can we ask?
Um, can you help me? But não é phrasal verbs
No,
essa
it's
palavra.
okay. Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be a phrasal verb. It's just asking for something. You're right. So, can you help me here? Okay. hmm Always remember to use the word please. Can you help me, please? That's a good one, David. hmm Okay. So perhaps you're looking for something and you can't find. So you ask the shop assistant to help you. Okay, good. Now, suppose now you are at home. What phrases do I use to ask for help at home? What can you ask? Think of favors, things that sometimes we need, right?
I need help.
Yes, you can say, oh, I need help. Yes, let's try to be more specific. But that was very good. That was very good, David. So, for example, if you are at home, you can ask, for example, suppose um, it's your birthday, right? And then you ask your mother or somebody in your family to make a special cake. So you can say, Could you make chocolate cake? Okay, so suppose you like chocolate a lot and you love chocolate cake. It's your birthday, so you can ask, oh, could you make a chocolate cake for my birthday, please? Let's put the word please. Let's not forget. Okay? All right, David. Okay, Leo. Hi, Julio.
Okay.
Good morning. Can you hear us? All right. Welcome. Okay. So, this is something you can ask your mother, for example. Oh, mom, could you make a chocolate cake for my birthday, please? All right. So, this is a request and it's a polite request. You're asking politely. Okay. All right. So, let's put these requests here on the side. And let's see now what actually they need. He's a student, okay. He is a teacher, that's right. So, what is the situation here? What does the student need? Okay, so let's check it out. We have here some sentences that we are supposed to mark true or false. Okay, but first, let's just watch to see what he needs. Okay, so pay attention.
Good morning, this is Jack Armstrong.
Hello, this is Max from your art history class.
Yes, of course. Hello, Max, how are you?
Good, thanks. Since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you.
Sure. What would you like to discuss?
I'd like to discuss my major and a scholarship.
Great, great. You're thinking ahead.
Well, yeah, I am. Is it possible to make an appointment for tomorrow after class?
Sure. I have office hours from 2 p.m. until 5.
Thanks, Professor Armstrong.
My pleasure, Max. I'll see you tomorrow after class. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey, Max.
Hi, Andy. Could I ask you a favor? Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm watching a movie.
Oh, I forgot my art history book. Could you bring it to me at the main building in 10 minutes? I just don't have time to go home before class.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I don't want to be in any trouble.
No worries. That's what friends are for.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Okay, so let's say, do you remember the first conversation when the student calls the teacher? What does he need exactly? That was too fast. Okay, no problem. We can watch that again. But this time, besides watching for that information, I'd like you to also pay attention to the sentences here. Okay? I will zoom in so you can watch better and understand what they're saying. Okay? So, look, we have the following sentences or statements, and we should select true or false, okay, here. Let's see the first one. The professor doesn't know Max.
True.
Number two, let's watch first, okay? Number
Oh,
two, the professor is Max's advisor. Number three, Max wants to meet with the professor to talk about a campus job. Number four, Max is going to meet the professor at his office tomorrow. Number five, now the second conversation. Andy forgot two important things in the apartment. Number six, Max arranges to meet Andy at the main building. Okay, so let's watch that one more time and then try to decide if they're true or false and try to see what exactly Max needs. Okay,
okay.
so let's watch again. Yeah, let's wait a little bit. Our connection is not so stable.
Good morning, this is Jack Armstrong.
Hello, this is Max from your art history class.
Yes, of course. Hello, Max, how are you?
Good, thanks. Since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you.
Sure. What would you like to discuss?
I'd like to discuss my major and a scholarship.
Great, great. You're thinking.
So let's pause here and take the advantage that the connection is not so good. And let's try to answer the first question I asked. What does Max need?
He's Ai, meu Deus, esqueci o nome da prova em inglês. Não é possível. Aluno em inglês.
Oh, he's a student.
Student. Student.
Yes.
Deu branco.
No problem, Júlio. All right, he's a student. And what does he need as a student?
I know understand.
Ah, okay, let's go back there and see. Look, I will just show you the transcript of what they say. So that may help you, okay? Let's see. So he calls his teacher, Professor Armstrong, and then,
Yes.
very nice. And then he says, since you are my advisor, I'd like to meet with you. Okay, that's the first request. And then the professor wants to know the topic of their conversation when they meet. So he says, what would you like to discuss? And then he goes, I'd like to discuss my major,
Major.
and a scholarship. Guys, what is a major? Do you know?
Prefeito.
No, that is
No.
mayor. Mayor. Yes, that.
Mayor is
Yeah,
prefeito.
yes.
Mm,
Mayor. Here we are talking about major. So, major is the subject or the topic you study at college. For example, suppose you go to college and you are doing architecture, for example. So, architecture is your major, all right?
É como se fosse faculdade, né, teacher?
Yes, yes, exactly. hmm So it's your major, it's what you study at college. When we say college, we are referring to university, right? It's similar. Okay. So, what's your major? For example, suppose I tell you that I'm going to college, and then you ask me, oh, how nice. What's your major? And then I say, oh, it's pedagogy, for example. Okay.
mm, okay.
Suppose I decide to do that and then I tell you, oh, yeah, my major is pedagogy. Okay. Now, let's see here what he wants from the teacher. So, at college, Professor Armstrong is his advisor because it's normal when you go to college, you usually have a teacher, I mean, a professor, sorry, who is your advisor and helps you with your projects, okay,
Mm-hmm.
or your
Teacher,
term paper.
what is advisor?
Oh, right. So let me explain. Advisor is a professor at college or university who helps students um, with their projects. Okay. So if you go to college, suppose you decide to do biology, right? So as a student, you need to complete some tasks. You need to do some projects. You need to actually to write a monography or something, right? At the end of your course, to present, and then to graduate. So if you don't have an advisor, it's difficult. So there is always a professor who helps students with that. Okay.
Okay.
So they
Okay.
help you write your term paper, as we call it. So if they have to write a paper, if they have to present something, uh, this professor is the one who helps you, your advisor. Okay. So
Okay.
here, Professor Armstrong is Max's advisor. Okay. And then he says, I'd like to meet with you. Meet with you is the same as I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to have a conversation. I'd like to speak, okay, with you about my major and a scholarship. Now, what is a scholarship?
Relacionamento escolar?
No, not that. A
Ensino
scholarship,
médio?
no. Let me explain better, okay? When you go to college, especially in the United States, you have to pay some money for that. And it's usually not very cheap, it's expensive, okay? College is expensive. And if you don't have much money, you may ask for a scholarship. So some students, they get a 50% scholarship. Some other students may have um, just 20% scholarship, and some other students may have 100% scholarship. So they don't have to pay to study. Okay. So if you
Mm.
have a 100% scholarship, so wow, good for you. You don't need to worry about paying college or paying for college, sorry. So you are fine, okay? You're good. But not all the students get a scholarship, right? There are some special things that you need to do to request a scholarship, okay?
Okay.
All right, okay, David. Yes,
Okay.
okay, Leo. Okay, Julio. So here,
Yes.
he wants to talk to his advisor. He wants to, have a talk and discuss his major and a scholarship because probably he doesn't have one. So he wants to have a scholarship. Okay, that's what they're planning to do. So Professor Armstrong right away says, "Oh, great, great. You're thinking ahead. So you are thinking in the future. You are planning your future." Okay, that's the meaning of you're thinking ahead. Okay, good. And then they start making arrangements for this meeting, right? They decide on a specific time. Okay, so here, this is what we say when we arrange to meet somebody um, in a formal way, right? It's when we make an appointment. So we make an appointment to do something. For example, when you go to the dentist, you need to make an appointment first. Okay? That means you need to agree on a day, a time. Okay? So here they want to actually Max, he suggests to make an appointment for tomorrow after class. Okay? All right, people. So now let's take a look at the statements again that we need to decide if they are true or false. Okay? So I'll play one more time from the beginning. So
Good morning, this is Jack Armstrong.
Hello, this is Max from your art history class.
Yes, of course. Hello, Max, how are you?
Good, thanks. Since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you.
Sure. What would you like to discuss?
I'd like to discuss my major and a scholarship.
Great, great. You're thinking ahead.
Well, yeah, I am. Is it possible to make an appointment for tomorrow after class?
Sure. I have office hours from 2 p.m. until 5.
Thanks, Professor Armstrong.
My pleasure, Max. I'll see you tomorrow after class. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey, Max.
Hi, Andy. Could I ask you a favour? Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm watching a movie.
Oh, I forgot my art history book. Could you bring it to me at the main building in 10 minutes? I just don't have time to go home before class.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I don't want to be any trouble.
No worries. That's what friends are for.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Okay. All right. So let's see, guys. Now, the first one, the professor doesn't know Max. Is it?
False.
Oh, okay, great. Next, the professor is Max's advisor.
True.
True.
Number three, Max wants to meet with the professor to talk about a campus job.
False.
False. True.
False.
False.
Yes. Number four, Max is going to meet the professor at his office tomorrow.
True.
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 Great. Number five, Andy forgot two important things in the apartment.
False.
True. True.
He forgot two important things or just one important
Ah.
thing?
One. The book.
Yes,
Oh.
right? Number six, Max arranges to meet Andy at the main building.
True.
True.
Mhm. Okay, let's check it out. Yay, everything correct. Congratulations. Very nice, people. Okay, so now let's see some more details about their conversation, okay? So, the topic is requesting things by phone. There are many ways to ask for something, and it's true, it depends on the situation, okay? When we feel confident and we don't think we are asking for too much, we use polite, direct phrases. So, example here, I'd like to meet with you. Could you tell me what your office hours are, please? Or do you have time to meet me someday next week, for example? So here we are being confident. We are okay with the question, with the request. There is no feeling of uneasiness, right? We are fine. We know we can ask, so that's okay. Let's highlight here some important points, okay? So first, we have to understand that these questions we usually ask when we feel confident, right? We are sure there is no problem, but we use polite language, okay?
Okay.
So here we can go ahead and say, I'd like, or could you, or do you have time, okay? Now, on the other hand, if we're worried that our request is not convenient for the other person, we use less direct phrases. So in this case here, we are not confident, we're worried, okay? Because maybe what we need is something a little complicated or a little difficult, okay? So not convenient probably. So how do we ask? We have to use less direct phrases, okay? Example, I'm wondering if you could bring me my book. Or would you mind giving me a ride home? Or is it possible for you to um, lend me your cell phone? So these requests are a little uncomfortable, okay? Because we are asking something that we don't normally ask, okay? So here, uh, suppose you are at school and you leave your book at home, okay?
Hello,
Imagine.
guys. Good morning. I'm sorry,
Hi,
teacher.
Bia. Good morning. Good to see you. So that's okay, no problem. Suppose you are at school and you leave your book at home. So you call your mother or somebody else, and you say, I'm sorry, but I left my book at home. Uh, I'm wondering if you could bring me my book. Like in 30 minutes, I have a test. Okay, guys, so that's the situation. You are being very careful when you make this kind of request, right? So here, let's highlight the beginning of such questions or such requests. You can say, would you mind? This is very common, right? Suppose you're walking and then a friend passes by driving a car, and then he stops to say hi to you. He says, "Oh, hi, David. Oh, where are you going?" And then you say, "Oh, I'm going home." And then your friend doesn't say anything. And then you go ahead and say, would you mind giving me a ride home? Right? So it's like this awkward situation that your friend didn't actually offer, but you ask, okay, I'm a little tired of walking, so would you mind giving me a ride home? Okay.
Okay.
And then here, is it possible? It's also a nice way to start. Okay. So suppose I ask you guys, for example, uh, next week we are going to have a special activity. And then I say, is it possible for you to invite your friends to attend our class next week? Because we are having a big event online, and I would like to have more people. So, is it possible for you to invite your friends, your family? Can you do that? Okay. So, this is something that is not very convenient or not very normal to ask. Okay. Um, let's see the next one. Sometimes we add an extra phrase to show that we know we are asking a lot. Mm, yeah. So here, that's the moment when you are absolutely sure you are being kind of inconvenient. Okay. So let's see the examples. Can I ask you a favor? Or sorry to bother you, but um, I really need um, 10 reais. Terrible, isn't it? Or if you have time, could you please um, write a composition for next class about da 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 da? Okay, so this is only an example I'm giving, right? And these are the ways we usually start when we know it's something more difficult. Okay, guys. Okay, so we can also say, for example, when we want to ask for something a little uncomfortable and we want to really get what we need, so we add an explanation. So here, look. So the person understands your situation. Um, let's see the example. My car broke down. Could you give me a ride? So before you ask, you explain what happened. Okay, you say what happened. So here, this is what the person did, right? So it's different, like when you are walking and a friend passes by, right? So now, if a person says yes, don't forget, guys, thank them, okay? If they say no, it's good to make sure they don't feel bad about it. So, of course, you don't want the person to feel just because she or he said no, you will be, oh, I knew it. You can't do that, right? So, let's see examples of a request that was accepted. Can I borrow your car today? Oh my God, look at that. Then your friend says, sure, no problem. Oh, great. Thank you so much. Right? So, this is a very interesting request. We don't usually ask such a thing, right? Borrow someone's car. Now, when somebody says no, so request, rejected. Do you have time to pick me up at the train station? Do you understand this expression, people? Pick me up.
What expression?
Yes.
Pick me up.
Pick me
É,
up.
é
Acho que é
pegar
me
alguém.
buscar.
Carro,
Yes, yes, very good, Julio.
empurrar
Yeah.
ou puxar.
Sorry, Léo.
O que significa deixar ela?
Pick me up. Julio, can you repeat, please?
Me buscar.
All right.
Ah, ok.
Okay, guys. So, do you have time to pick me up at the train station? Okay, so imagine you take a train, and when you are like tired, you don't want to walk or take a bus, you can ask someone and make this request. Oh, can you pick me up at the train station? So the person says, I'm sorry, I don't. I'm visiting my grandmother. So what do
Oh,
you say? Yeah, are you going to be rude? No. So you should say something like this. Oh, that's okay. Thanks anyway. Okay, so this is a very nice way to be polite and to show that it's all right. Okay, you're not being rude or you're not showing that um, you are annoyed because the person said no. No, the person can't, or for some other reason, right? So always be polite, okay, people?
ok.
So I'm highlighting here the key sentences or key phrases, right? So I will play the video again if the connection allows. So you can try to notice how they asked for something, how they make their requests on the phone, okay? Let's see what they used. Was something they felt confident about, right? Did they use expressions like could you, Or do you have time to? Or was it something like a little bit uncomfortable? For example, is it possible? Would you mind? I'm wondering if, let me highlight this together. Okay, so let's see. Try to identify the ways they asked for something, they made their request.
Good morning, this is Jack Armstrong.
Hello, this is Max from your art history class.
Yes, of course. Hello, Max, how are you?
Good, thanks. Since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you.
Sure. What would you like to discuss?
I'd like to discuss my major and a scholarship.
Great, great. You're thinking ahead.
Okay, guys. So, did you see how Max made a request to his professor? Look, he goes ahead and he says, since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you. So, is he feeling comfortable or uncomfortable to make this request?
Mm, comfortable. No.
Comfortable, yes, he's very comfortable because Professor Armstrong is his advisor.
Mhm.
He knows his professor, and his professor's job is to help students. So it's okay, it's common, it's something all right. He can go ahead and ask,
Mhm.
right? So here he says, oh, since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you. So he uses the first one here that I haven't highlighted. So I will do it right now. Here, look. He's being direct, okay? He doesn't need to explain something. So he goes ahead and I'd like to meet with you right away, okay?
Okay.
Then he is confident with his professor, okay? Now, the second time he makes a request, they are discussing about when they're going to meet, what day, what time. So this time here, Max is being more careful. So he says, is it possible to make an appointment for tomorrow after class? So it's like he needs it for now. It's like urgent. Okay. So he doesn't want to meet next week, for example, or sometime, casually. He wants tomorrow. He would like to meet tomorrow. So that's why he's being more careful here. So he's saying, is it possible? Okay. So it's a different way to ask because now he is being a little um, direct, but more careful. Okay. With what he wants. So he's actually less direct. That's the right way to understand this. Okay, so did you get the difference? Yes. Now let's move on.
Well, yeah, I am. Is it possible to make an appointment for tomorrow after class?
Sure. I have office hours from 2 p.m. until 5.
Thanks, Professor Armstrong.
My pleasure, Max. I'll see you tomorrow after class. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey, Max.
Hi, Andy. Could I ask you a favor? Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm watching a movie.
So now this is a different situation. Here, it's not a student and a professor. Here, there are two friends in the situation now. We have Max and Andy.
Uhum.
So, how does he ask?
A favor.
Yes, he goes ahead and says directly, um, hi Andy, could I ask you for a favor? Are you at home? So he is direct here, right?
Uhum.
Because he's talking to a friend, he feels confident, okay? All right. And then he asks, first of all, before he asks the favor, he wants to know if the friend is available. So he says, are you at home? Okay. So listen.
Oh, I forgot my art history book. Could you bring it to me at the main building in 10 minutes? I just don't have time to go home before class.
So what happens here? Does he explain before he asks or after he asks? Or
Sorry.
does he just say, "Oh, could you bring my art history book that I forgot"? Is that how he asks?
Yes, and ele também tá falando pra levar o livro pra ele.
Yes, of course. Yeah. He needs his art history book, but look at how he asks. He explains first, okay? I
Uhum.
forgot my art history book. Could you bring it to me at the main building in 10 minutes? So here, uh, you're using the second technique here. It's when you add extra phrases, because what we are asking here, what he's asking, is something that is not very convenient. I mean, it's going to be troublesome for his friend Andy to go there in 10 minutes to just bring his book. Okay. So that's why he's giving more information and he's explaining what happened. Okay. And then he says, I just don't have time to go home before class. Okay. So he's adding an explanation. Okay.
Ok.
Right? Because he
Uhum.
knows what he's asking for is something that is not something we ask every day. It's something extraordinary. So, extraordinary, sorry. So, let's move on.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I don't want to be any trouble.
Oh, look, his friend Andy is taken by surprise. I mean, he wasn't expecting, he's watching his movie. So, he's like, "Mm, oh, sure." And then Max, he again, he adds an extra phrase, like, for example, sorry to bother you, or, right? So he says, I don't want to be in trouble. So I don't want to annoy you or to ask you too much. You try to be okay with the person and say that, oh, you feel sorry for having to make this request. Okay.
No worries. That's what friends are for.
Oh, thanks, Andy.
Okay. So then finally Andy says, no worries. No worries, guys. It's the same as it's okay. No problem, right? And then he says, that's what friends are for. It's like, okay, I'll do it for you. After all, I'm your friend, right? We're friends. So, okay, guys. So you could see that depending on what you ask and who you were talking to, you use some phrases that are more appropriate. Okay, great. So let's move on to the next page. Look, in number 3, they want us to write one of the phrases that Max uses when making a request to his professor. So we've already discussed, we've already seen that. Do you remember one or two phrases that he uses when he's talking to his professor?
I don't remember.
No problem. Leo, Bia, do you remember?
Sorry, teacher.
I'm
Can you
sorry.
repeat?
It's okay, no problem. So I will play one more time and then you will try to see the phrases. Okay, guys? Here we
Okay.
have the phrases in the box, but we can also watch one more time.
Good morning, this is Jack Armstrong.
Hello, this is Max from your art history class.
Yes, of course. Hello, Max, how are you?
Good, thanks. Since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you.
Sure.
So what is the phrase that he uses? Look, it's right there for you. He says, since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you. So look at the phrase, I'd like to. This is a good way to make a request when you're feeling confident about it. Okay. Another one, I'd like to discuss my major. Okay. And another one he uses, is it possible to make an appointment? So I can
Teacher,
say yes.
deixa eu só te perguntar um negócio. Eu não tô conseguindo entender a parte do phrases. What is this?
A phrase is like a sentence that has a group of words. For example, can be a phrase, can be 2 words or 3 words, okay, that we
Uhum.
use to communicate. So that's a phrase. For example,
Ok.
here, when he says, since you're my advisor, I'd like to meet with you. So I'd like to is a phrase, okay?
Uhum.
So I use I'd like to when I'm making a request, I'm asking for something. So here,
Ok.
Max uses I'd like to because he feels confident asking that from his advisor. He knows the professor, he is his student, and he knows the professor usually helps students when necessary because that's his job, okay, as an
Ok.
advisor. So that's why he goes ahead and says, oh, I'd like to meet with you, okay.
Uhum.
Another way, another way that he uses to ask what he wants, I'd like to discuss. So he uses I'd like to again, okay. Another one here, he asks, is it possible to make an appointment? Blah. So here he's using another phrase because he wants to be more polite, because he wants to meet his professor tomorrow after class. So it's like on short notice, right? So that's why here he is more careful. He is less direct. Okay? So, is it possible to is another phrase. All right, Bia.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the question that they asked here on the other page. Look, write one of the phrases that Max uses when making a request to his professor. So we can choose, we can put, is it possible to, or I'd like to, okay? So let's write it down here as an example, okay? I'm going to write here. All right, you don't need to write the sentence, but just the phrase, okay? Now, question number 2. Write one phrase that Max uses when making a request to his friend Andy. So let's check it out.
Hi, Andy. Could I ask you a favor? Are you at home?
Okay, guys. So the first one here is clear, right? He says, could I ask you a favor? That's a typical way to ask for something that is not very convenient, okay? So could I ask you a favor? Not always not convenient, but also for when I want to be polite, right? But I know that what I'm asking for, it's not something so simple, okay? So we can use that one. Let's see the other one he uses.
Yeah, I'm watching a movie.
Oh, I forgot my art history book. Could you bring it to me at the main building in 10 minutes? I just don't have time to go home before class.
Mm-hmm. So the other phrase he uses, could you bring it to me? Okay. So this is another way. And then here he reiterates by saying, I don't want to be any trouble. All right. Okay. So you can choose one of those. But I will choose the first one, but you can choose any other, okay, if you wish. So this one, for example, could I ask you for a favor? Okay, so let's write it down. I'm going to put up here so you can visualize better. Could I ask you for a favor? All right, people. Okay, Bia. Yes, do you understand now? Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Good.
Yes.
Now, number 3. How are Max's phrases, the tone, the attitude, different in each situation? So here, why do you think the attitude is different or the tone is different when he's talking to his professor and when he's talking to his friend?
because he forgot his art book.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, David. Uh-huh. So he forgot his art book uh, at home, and so he's talking to his friend, to his roommate. So he's more informal, right? Here, when he talks to his professor, he is a little bit more formal, okay? That's the situation. So let's check the answers, right, for that one. Here, look, they give many examples, right? Not only one. So possible examples, possible answers. I'd like to meet with you. I'd like to discuss. Is it possible to? So we chose this one, okay?
Okay.
You don't need to write the whole sentence, just the phrase. Number two, when he talks to his friend, could I ask you for a favor? Exactly the one we wrote, okay? Look, another possibility. Could you bring it to me? Or I don't want to be in trouble, okay? Now, number three, Max sounds worried. He doesn't want to make problems for Andy. So when he asks his friend to bring his book, of course, he knows it's not something very easy, especially because Andy is at home relaxing. So he is more worried, not more formal. He is informal, but he's worried. Okay? His tone and language show that he feels a little bad about asking Andy for his favor. So that's the idea. He really feels a little bad because he knows it's boring. Okay? So that's why he asks his friend Andy in a different way. Okay? The second one here, look, Max is not worried about that with his professor because his professor is, he usually does that. His professor helps students. It's normal, okay? So he isn't worried. This is very important to notice, okay? So he's not asking for anything very big. Having a meeting with his professor isn't very big. It's okay, right? It's the professor's job to meet and help students. So also, Professor Armstrong is Max's advisor, okay? So the situations are different, okay? All right, people. Okay, can I close? If you want, guys, you can get a screenshot or print this part so you can understand better or remember later, right? The differences. Okay, can I close?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you, David. All
You're welcome.
right. Okay, guys. So now to finish that, we have some situations here in number four, and we are just going to select the level of difficulty in each one when we ask for something. Is it something difficult for the other person to do? Is it something inconvenient or not? Okay, so read each situation and rate each one from 1 to 5. 1 being something comfortable, like a comfortable request, and 5 being a difficult request. Okay, so let me highlight that for you. 1 is something okay, no problem, and 5 is something difficult. Okay, so let's take a look at the first one. Who just left? Oh, David. So let's say you're outside your friend's house. Your friend is waiting for you. You want your friend to come downstairs and open the door. Okay, so you just arrived and then you want your friend to please come down and open the door for you. So what kind of request is that? What do you think? Is it something comfortable? Do you feel comfortable asking that? Or is it
Yeah, it's
something?
comfortable.
Yes, I think so too. No problem, right? So, all right. Now, number two, you invited a classmate to your apartment in an hour for dinner. You are shopping for the food. You want your roommate to clean the kitchen and the living room before you arrive. And remember, your roommate hardly ever cleans. So, what is the situation now? Is it a comfortable situation or a difficult situation? Here I marked wrong. I think here the first one is number one. Sorry. Because one is when it's something okay, and five is something difficult. So imagine you were shopping for food and you have something there in an hour. Your friend or your classmate is coming to your apartment in an hour, and your apartment is a mess. You want your roommate to please clean the apartment, especially the living room, right? Kitchen and living room. The rest is okay, but at least the kitchen and the living room. So, is it something that you ask easily or not? That's hard, in my opinion, right? Because you're going to ask your friends to clean something that he hardly ever does. So it's difficult. Okay. So, guys, I would like to ask you to read the other situations, okay? And select. If it's something difficult to ask, then you mark 4 or 5. But if it's something simple, if it's not troublesome, then you can mark 1, 2, or 3. All right? I'll ask you to do that for homework. Okay, people. So that's the end of our class today. So what did we learn today? Let's zoom out and see. What did we learn today? David, Leo, Bia.
Phrases,
Phrases to do what?
uh,
Phrases, vocabulary,
Yes. About what? What was the topic?
a few requests.
Ah, okay. Very nice, Leo. A few requests, yes. Phrases and vocabulary we use to make requests, okay? Especially by phone, okay? So when we are asking for a favor, when we need something, okay, guys? And then we use the phone to call the person and ask for a favor. Okay, that was the main topic. And then we discussed, we watched the video, right? Now I'd like to show you the homework for next class. Remember, try to do the second part here, exercise number 4, just selecting the level of difficulty, right? If it's something easy to ask, something that is not troublesome, or if it's something complicated, right? Then you just have to select from 1 to 5, okay? And then the homework for next week, guys, as we talked about comfortable or difficult requests, is I'd like you to do online practice Unit 3.4. Okay, so take a look at some extra material that we posted here to help you understand better what we saw last class and also today. Okay, let's take a picture to finish. Let's go. All right, people. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Bia. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, David.
Bye-bye, teacher.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you,
everybody who
teacher.
is watching. And I hope you have a great weekend. Protect yourselves, right? Wear a mask.
Have a
Bye
nice week,
bye.
teacher.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye-bye, teacher.
Bye bye, Leo.
Bye.
Bye, David. See you.
Bye.